Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Ann at Martin House Flowers. Today we're going to make a flower crown for my daughter who's getting married in September. So today we're going to make it out of dried flowers. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so I've set up my supplies for my flower crown, and I've got a couple methods that I can do. I decided that I would go ahead and purchase an existing crown that I found on Amazon. It was a 2-pack and it came like this, 2 separate packages. It had these little florets that I knew wouldn't be to my liking. So I removed those little faux daisies and left the little white beads. And the reason I went ahead and purchased this is because of these little fabric leaves that are already wound around the crown. And I'm not likely going to want these trailers, so I'm probably going to use these. But I'm also going to show you the method that is most popular, and that's using floral wire. And so, and because my daughter's wedding is in Toronto, and that's a flight away, and it's in mid-September, and we're heading over there tomorrow, I thought I would attempt to do a flower crown with dried flowers. So what I've done here is I've dried a couple of different flowers from my garden. I had shown these to you in my last video, and a couple people showed interest, so that's why I'm going ahead and filming. But what's interesting about drying flowers is the colors after drying are never fully the same as before drying, as when they're fresh. So this was, if I recall, these were the Oklahoma salmon zinnias that have dried out to be very pink and kind of brownish. So likely I won't be using those, but I wanted to air dry some zinnias just to see how they would dry. And this, most of what I've got here this was all dried via some string and in a hanger, hanging off a hanger, and I'll show you that image. And I hung it in a cool, dark place, a closet. And straw flowers are one of the most popular flowers to dry because they dry almost identical to when they were fresh. And I can show you what these look like in the garden as well as what they look like today. Very, very similar. The good thing is they dried the same color as what they did, but even more vivid, the pink. And I don't think my daughter Hannah wants pink. She's one of those girls that has always been a little bit of a sporty girl, never liked pink. So her colors are, you know, whites, creams, yellows, oranges, those natural colors. And being September, that it's very seasonal. So these again dried beautifully, but I won't be using them for her wedding. The gomphrena, on the other hand, the white gomphrena, dried to a nice kind of antique color. So these are dry and they're almost, I would say, almost identical to the fresh flower that's in the garden. And I'll show you an image of that as well. So I'm happy to use those. And then I have some feverfew, and the feverfew, the white petals, which look like miniature daisies, really shriveled up, but I might be able to use these because I do like the colors in here. And then I have some yarrow, which is kind of a blushy color, and they came out pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and try to use some of these and go from there. Now the other method that I used were just to air dry these marigolds, just in these empty little milk bottles. And they look really good right now. It's been, I think, about 4 or 5 days, but I can still feel the softness, so they're not fully dried. But I might go ahead and use these depending on what is in the next method, which is my silica method. But look at this color here. has a really slight blush. I think this will be acceptable for her. And too bad I didn't really have that many. The straw flowers came up in the garden really late, just in the last couple of weeks. So that's a really nice color. And the last method is the silica gel method. And I got this kit from Amazon. We will open those in a little bit. I got this, this floral wire and floral tape kit together in this kit here from Amazon. I can link them below. They were really inexpensive, in the $5–6 range. Of course, my flowers are from the garden. You can also use fresh flowers, which it would be wonderful to use fresh flowers, but having to get on a plane and get them over there likely wouldn't, they would no longer be fresh. And could I assemble one there, picking some flowers? I could, but then that's a lot of pressure for the mother of the bride the couple days before the wedding. So I'm going to go ahead and try to see how long this video goes, but I'm going to do two methods, using this method as the base because I like the greenery. And then I'm also just going to show you the beginnings of how to create your floral, the wreath itself, the floral crown or wreath, and using just wire and tape. And then I'll show you just the beginnings of how to attach your flowers to the crown. And then my last supply here is some ribbon, and I got this sort of organza type narrow ribbon from Amazon. And I forget whether this is, I think this is about a 1/4 inch. Yeah, about a 1/4 inch with tape that I will use at the ends to tie up the crown. Just put a long ribbon on the back. I'm also going to make her a long veil that I'm still going to purchase the tulle or organza from a shop in Toronto when I'm down there this weekend. So for today, we'll just show you the crown. So let's get started. So let's do the basic method of making a crown with just floral wire and floral tape. And as I mentioned, I'm probably going to use the pre-existing crown only because I don't have enough greenery that I feel will work for a dried flower floral crown. And I think there's some greenery out there like salal that would probably be nice and rich green. But I don't recall what sort of greenery she's going to be using or what her florist will use. I do have some eucalyptus here that's preserved, and I got this from Hobby Lobby a few months ago. And I actually was going to cut one of the smaller. I noticed that the leaves are pretty large, but I thought I could just for the sake of this video, do a sample using some of these leaves. Like this one here is nice and small, and see how that looks. So I'm just going to use, oh, here's another. So we'll just do a kind of sample of using this wreath with a couple bundles of floral. So to get started, this is probably about a 22 or 26 gauge floral wire. And you can do a couple things. You can take a piece of ribbon and measure it around the circumference of your head, of the girl that's wearing it, or yourself. If it's a child, you definitely want to get a measurement with some ribbon and measure that. But since it's my daughter, I'm pretty sure her head size is pretty close to mine. And I do have this sample one here, so you can definitely this will be enough. Yes. So you basically take your two lengths and overlap them by about, this is about 4 inches roughly. And I did my own flowers for our wedding a few years ago, almost 4 years ago, and I had all this same supplies and couldn't find them, of course, so I just picked these up or ordered these recently from Amazon. So they're definitely available from Amazon or any of your floral or craft supply stores like Hobby Lobby. They have all of these, but I find it super convenient to get them from Amazon. So this floral tape is just, it's really about stretching it. It's very stretchable, and you just wind your tape around there, and it just self-sticks. It's easier if you actually cut a length. Or tear a length. The shorter the length, the easier it is to wind it. There are a couple of other materials that you can use as well. There is a brown material that's sort of a little bit like raffia, and it's wired. I'll put the name of that type of material down below. But I thought, since I'm going to use, for budgetary reasons, since I'm going to use this floral tape to attach the flowers, that I might as well just go ahead and use this. And I did want, personally, I wanted a green base for this wiring method, and then this other wreath came with that material that I'm talking about. It looks like this. So they wound it with this brown, as well as they used some green floral wire. But I wanted to give you the option of doing this. You can apply this method using fresh flowers, as I mentioned. If you're a real pro at this and make these often, you can, I have seen some girls do it with one hand, much like this, and they just keep going around and around. I've seen them do it super fast. A similar method actually as making a wreath. If you watched my video from last year, I made a hydrangea wreath, and I can link that video below as well. So you get the idea. I will fast forward this part. So this is where I'm going to make a hook, but I will finish putting tape. This is why you want to cut your tape, because it gets all twisted. If I was really organized, I would have cut a series of strips of floral tape, had them ready. There's my hook. And I'm going to actually, there's about a centimeter there of wire that's not covered, and that makes it easier to twist. You've got a nice hook there. I'm going to put some tape around that end just so it doesn't stick out. So as I mentioned, for the purpose of this video, I will do the crown. I will make the crown with dried flowers, but you can certainly do it with fresh. And I could take some fresh flowers from the garden, but to be honest, I don't know that I like a lot of my fresh flowers for this purpose. I have zinnias. Roses would be nice. Daisies, but again, those don't stay fresh for very long without wilting. So I really think, unless I was getting fresh flowers the day of, and I could use preserve floral life like I did for my flowers. I did my flowers for our wedding 2 days before, kept them in a cool place, sprayed them with floral life. I kept boutonnieres in the refrigerator, but I don't really have that available to me. So I want to go all the way around, and we're going to use this because I know this fits. We're going to use this as a sample circular for the size, and that's pretty good right there. So then I'm going to make a hook that will just hook in here and hook into this, and then I'll cut this excess so I'm not wrapping too much. I'm not wasting, so that's pretty good. These are floral cutters that I also got from Amazon many years ago to do our wedding flowers, but that's what I'm going to use for the hook. It's definitely more than I need. But for someone who wants to wear it lower, yeah, so I'm going to cut just a little bit more. Right about here. Okay, so we just have to finish wrapping this. If you have these sort of ends like this, you can just re-tighten them, twist them, and they go in nicely. So there's my hook and my hoop, and you can just close this up here, and that's how it attaches, like so. All right, so that we can get on with the one I'm going to use, because I like this brown wrap. This 2-pack, I believe, was something like $6. So by the time I did the math on how much it would cost to buy the brown wrap, the leaves, the beading, all of that, it just made sense to just buy this ready-made wreath. But I wanted to also show you how you can do it with just floral wire, because you can do, for example, I don't have enough flowers to do a completely consistent set of flowers all the way around of the colors I want from my garden, but you can definitely do a uniform one with this method, with either method. But what I want to do is probably build some gomphrena around sort of this area to keep it simple, and then just add the focal flowers at the back. My daughter Hannah and I talked about it, and she didn't want the front to be overpowering, so she wanted it more in the back. I showed her some pictures from Pinterest, and that was sort of the look that I was going for, and she totally agreed with that. So, but I want to show you just the method here. So let's take, for this purpose, because I'm not using the pink or Hannah's crown, but I'm going to go ahead and cut one of these, a couple of these, since we're not going to use these, so that I can show you. So if you wanted to do roses, daisies, any fresh flower or dried flower, you can buy a bunch of these actually from Etsy in bundles of 25 or so. And I thought about doing that, but the timing wasn't there, and I really wanted to use flowers from my garden just because it was more sentimental, I thought. But let's go ahead, and so I'm gonna just put one of these behind a eucalyptus leaf. I don't really love that this leaf is this wide, but you can buy some seeded eucalyptus. I couldn't find any at Hobby Lobby, but you can certainly order them. For my wedding, I ordered everything from an online wholesale floral company. Everything was fresh, and they were flown from different parts of the world. So you can get seeded eucalyptus, as I used in my bouquets. So you can just take your stem of your flower and create a little bundle. Let's see. I'm going to take one of these little gomphrenias and add it here. And actually, this one's really pretty. So I'm not going to use this one after all. It's kind of large. But this one here is a good size, and there's already a couple little buds attached to the main stem, so I like that that's already there. And then I'm just going to throw in this little gomphrena right here, and I'm going to take some floral tape. You can even just tear off the tape and just wind this around. It's going to attach it here to this, the center, the front here. And I left a tail of tape. You can take a whole new piece, or you can just take that and use it to wind around your crown. Now this stem is a little bit short. You can also hot glue, and I will grab my hot glue gun for this other wreath, because yes, the stem is really short. So I'm going to hot glue this bud onto this base. So I'm just going to tie this on here. But I want to show you with an actual stem. Maybe I'll use that later. And you can just create your bundles this way. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter how messy your underwire is, because you're going to be putting little bouquets, little bundles of flowers on top of the wiring and it'll be completely covered. So let's do another one. Oh, we forgot to cut that stem. So you want to find some flowers that are similar in size. That one's good. And you can just do something simple like that, or you can create, multiple little bouquets. So I'm just taking these two long stems, attaching it like that. You could do a third flower if you want. And actually I like this one here. We'll cover up that little, you can have some flawed leaves like this because they'll get covered by the flower. You can be creative that way. And basically just continue onward all the way around the wreath. And you can have something consistent like that where you have the same or similar bundles or groups of flowers all the way around. Or you can do something like what I'm going to do over here. So let's just get this on here. A couple of bundles, and I would just take that bundle and go all the way around for something pretty, like a nice pink wreath. I might finish that one later. So let's move on to this wreath, which I think I will like. Same idea. There's, consistent little bundles all the way around of these little white beads that I could have easily purchased separately and wound them all. But again, why not use something that exists? I could have bought several and done a trial and error, but as I mentioned, like, you can take apart things and just use what you like. I don't like these little daisies, so didn't want to use those. We can use that for another project, another floral crown. So let's go ahead, and this will be the back, and I will save these long pieces for later. And I'm going to, I think for my design here, I'm going to use Gomphrena as my flower all around. You can use baby's breath. I thought of using baby's breath. I could have grown baby's breath in the garden, but I'm kind of not a fan. It's just so common from the 80s, those sort of traditional bouquets with roses and baby's breath. I've just never really liked that look. It's just so passé for me, but hey, maybe it's now back in style, the younger generation. And I wanted to say, although Hannah was kind of a sporty girl growing up, didn't ever like pink, she became more of a kind of boho hipster kind of girl. And so flower crown definitely suits her. So I wanted to take a look at what the silica gel resulted in by drying marigolds, and I have some nasturtiums in here, and I'll drop in a photo of what it looked like with the first layer. So how silica gel works is you do a layer of about an inch or inch and a half underneath your flowers, and then you lay your flowers down as per the image, just using kind of a short amount of a stem, about an inch roughly, to sit into the silica gel, or half an inch, and it sits upright like this. And then you cover the rest of the silica gel. This kit actually came, I think it was under $15 from Amazon as well, and I like that it already came with a container, and it turned out perfect for the size or the number of flowers I was drying. And again, it was just an experiment. I've never used silica gel before. I've watched other people use it on YouTube, so I was really curious. So it comes with this little plastic bucket, the silica gel, and a brush, and a bag of silica gel. So basically, you want to pull away your flower, and you do want to wait about 4 to 7 days. And in this case, it has been, let's see, it's been 5 or 6 days from the time I did it. I believe I did these on Sunday. And I'm just carefully pulling out the first flower, hopefully not losing any more petals than I need to. And I should use gloves, but I'm not going to. And that looks pretty good. And you take the brush and just break away as much of the gel as you can, crystals, with this brush, and hopefully not lose very many petals. But I think that that is usable. It's definitely dry, a little fragile, but I can work with that. See the difference between an air dried, and this is still not dry. It's only been a couple days, maybe 3 days, as compared to the color here. So I'm going to take that, and I just want to put it in here because I want to maintain the form of the flower without hurting it. A good one. I had these little milk jugs, this little container at our wedding, at our high tops. I put roses in there. So that's that one. Let's see what else. And like I said, I'm going to use the Gomphrena. Really brilliant. Really pretty. Do you guys know what silica gel is? It's basically a drying agent. It basically removes moisture. So when I used to be in product development, the company I retired from, I did product development. I designed handbags and travel bags and helped design. The main part of the business was luggage. But anyway, long story short, when I had my bags shipped from the factory, they always came. I had to pay for them to include the little silica gel packs, and you probably see things come from overseas with little silica gel bags. This stuff is toxic, poisonous. Do not let your pets get a hold of it. I'm going to seal this up, cover it up now that I know there's no flowers left. And anyway, yeah, you don't want your pets tearing those little pouches open, but the purpose of them is to remove any moisture from the inside of your handbag or whatever product it is. Could be luggage, as I mentioned, because then that moisture could breed mold. So you don't want that. So let's put that aside. And get going here. Okay, so I have tried to be a little more efficient. I cut out all of these strips of floral tape, and I've set the marigolds that I want to use that came from the silica gel drying method over here. I have my gomphrena on the side here, and I think what I'm going to do first is work on putting the gomphrena on the sides. And I think I'm just gonna, I don't love the pure white of these beads next to this gomphrena, but I think it'll be okay. I'm thinking I'm just going to sort of set them in like so, like this, to kind of, because her dress is, if I recall, it's kind of a white eggshell ivory. So I think the white and this sort of off-white gomphrena will be fine. And if I don't like it in the end, I think I can always cover it up with some baby's breath if I feel I need to. I can also just cut out all of these whites, but I think I'm going to assemble it first with the gomphrena and see how it looks. I think I like the dimension of the beads right there. I might also cut some of these little guys, little feverfew, with each of the gomphrena. Definitely very delicate. I'm hoping I have enough of this feverfew that's dried. I like to work in threes, so I think I might do that. And put it around this little beaded area here, like so. I'll just start working with it and see how it looks. We can always take it apart. So you want to tug at the tape without tearing. And then I'm going to cut the extra stems. So the white is really subtle. It's sort of hidden, the beads, but the gomphrena is the main focus. So I think that's going to be my bundle.